Hello, everyone, and welcome to Full Time, where we take you around the world of football, locally, regionally, nationally, and internationally. The Full Time podcast is presented and powered by 91 Network. You're listening to Season 6, Episode 19 of Full Time. I'm your host, Daniel Scarpino, and with me is our co host, Gitano Gallo. Before we begin today's show, we'd like to take a moment to thank our sponsors. The Full Time Podcast is sponsored by Little Caesars Pizza. With their 2 locations in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, you can download and access the Pizza Portal app so you can enjoy a delicious hot and ready pizza from Little Caesars today. The Full Time Podcast is also sponsored by Sioux Sports. To check out Sioux Sports and all of their articles, announcements, and streaming platforms, including True House Media and True North Radio, visit siouxsports.com as well as Sioux Sports TV on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram. Remind our listeners that recordings of Full Time occur weekly or bi-weekly, and uploads to all of our platforms for public viewing and listening occur weekly or bi-weekly as well. Folks, we welcome you back to Full Time, where we get to talk about the beautiful game. G, how are you tonight, sir?
Not too bad. Managed not to get stuck in the driveway. Didn't have to go dig myself out today, so that's always a dub around this time of the year. How are you doing tonight, Scarps?
I'm doing very well, sir. And for the ones that are watching from out of town, I know we have a lot of American listeners. We are in the midst of number 1, a cold snap here in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, and we are getting some more snow squalls. I don't know how many feet of snow we're up to now, but I'm sure that we're tipping at some records here in the Sioux. So that is exactly what Gitano was referring to. But apart from that, G, I'm the same as you, man. I am doing very well. In today's show, we will discuss the January transfer window and Europe's Big Five. As always, if anyone would like to listen to our previous content, please check us out at Full Time on all platforms of 91 Network. And without further ado, Gitano, and to everyone who has taken the time to tune in here today, let's kick off. We get today's show started with the January transfer window. The following transfer market news comes from The Guardian, so be sure to check them out as they provide up-to-the-minute transfer market information in the world of football. First, it's Antoine Semenyo, who goes from Bournemouth to Manchester City for $62.5 million. The flying winger with 10 Premier League goals this season signs a 5.5-year deal. In a release to the press, the new Manchester City man says, "It's been a long road taken to the top, but I'm aiming to take my game to the next level." G, this one is all you.
Yeah, this is a super duper exciting signing for City. The last couple episodes have kind of been alluding to the fact that City were rumored to signing him, and then we got the here we go. But we were still waiting for the official confirmation. I like seeing the picture of them at the table with Vienna there. But yeah, I think a phenomenal signing for City for right now. I think for the future as well. Still only 26 years old. Actually, just turned 26 a couple weeks ago. So still plenty of time for him. Like he wants to do, wants to grow his game. And I think at City under Pep is the perfect place for him to do it. Also, just like the fact that he's Premier League proven, he knows the stress of the schedule. He knows how intense it is. The weather, the whole, like he knows it. He knows it in and out. I think it's perfect. And then obviously for him to get to play in the Champions League now too, is really just a brilliant all around signing. I'm super duper excited about this one.
Yeah, it's a win for everybody who's involved in it, the player, the club, the team, the fans, the manager, future manager, the whole bit. It's just absolutely fantastic and a huge signing, certainly the one of the window so far. Conor Gallagher goes from Atletico Madrid to Tottenham Hotspur for a fee of $34.6 million. The former Chelsea midfielder returns to the Premier League as he aims to force his way into Thomas Tuchel's England squad before the World Cup. G, Aston Villa were interested in Gallagher, but he has chosen Spurs. Give us your take here.
I really think he could have aimed a lot higher than Spurs. He's still a really good player. He's not overly old, still only 25 years old. Like he's got plenty of time, left at the top. So I'm just kind of shocked that he picked such a not great club to play for. Like if I think any player given the choice between playing for Villa and Spurs, like you should be picking Villa. Even though Villa's midfield is good, and I think there'd be a lot more competition for him there. Like I know he's definitely moved to Spurs for kind of the almost guaranteed game time, just because their midfield's a little lacking. But I think playing every other week in Villa's midfield, challenging for a European spot. They're third in the Premier League. They're technically challenging for the Premier League title right now. Um, I think that would look a lot better for his international chances than like hoping to like beat relegation with Spurs. But I don't see him lasting the whole contract there. I think if the goal is playing time before the World Cup, I think he might be there for maybe a year or two and then look on. I just don't think Spurs are really doing anything fantastic in terms of the project right now. They're very much just kind of stuck in the mud. Um, but he's definitely better than most of their midfielders. Maybe bar James Madison. In terms of James Madison's not really a central midfielder; he's more of an attacking midfielder. But when you look at that, the rest of the midfield there, I think he's a good addition for Spurs. I just don't. I think he could have aimed higher. I think he could have aimed a lot higher. Not even in England. He could have aimed higher outside of England, around Europe. Like he could have done far better than this Spurs move.
Yeah, and for me, Gitano, it's one of those things where this is one of the biggest for now signings that I've ever seen. Like this really is a for now signing that he's just doing it to get the guaranteed game time, to your point, to get into the England squad, to not be left out of a very good Aston Villa team, although they've got a bunch of injuries right now. But he couldn't have anticipated that when he was looking to sign. So I think he's just doing it for personal reasons. But if you wanted the European football, challenging for trophies, the accolades, and the whole bit, probably would have been suited better to go someplace else. But we'll see if he can get into that England squad and if this move was a good choice for him. Matteo Guendouzi goes from Lazio to Fenerbahce for 24.3 million. Manager of Lazio, Maurizio Sarri, is left dismayed by the departure of a player that he says we could build around. Despite the manager's discontent, Guendouzi seals his big money move to Turkey. Gee, what can you make of this one?
Um, Honestly, my first thoughts when you peg this as a transfer to talk about was I couldn't believe he's only 26 years old. It feels like he has been around forever. Um, Obviously, would have made his debut at Arsenal in 2018, like nearly a decade ago as a teenager. But yeah, I couldn't believe he was still so young. And to Sari's point there, like that's a 26-year-old defensive midfielder who's got like pretty good European experience playing in the Premier League, the Bundesliga, Liga, and the Serie A. Like that is someone who I'm shocked has gone to Turkey already at this point in his career. I definitely think he could have stayed in like a top European league. But for Fenerbahce, that's a fantastic signing for them. A lot of the Turkish clubs have done really, really like subtly good business this summer and in January already.
Yeah, good shout. And, I remember Matteo Guendouzi being at Arsenal as an 18-year-old, and the shouts were, and sort of the conversation was, well, this is going to be the star of Arsenal in the future. He's going to anchor the midfield. And, what I found when he played, he was young, he had disciplinary issues, but those sort of disciplinary issues on the field, like the kind of, I don't want to say like, yeah, kind of lack of player maturity, it's kind of carried through with him a little bit. But I mean, what a player. And to the manager's point, Maurizio Sarri, like, yeah, you definitely could have built around him, but he's chosen some money. He's chose to go to still a good club, but I am also surprised. I thought that he would have been at a more top contending team in Europe, but maybe the future will still hold something good for him as his age is still pretty solid. And finally, Mark Guehi goes from Crystal Palace to Manchester City for 20 million. The defender leaves South London after 5 years and signs the City deal until 2031 after a myriad of offers from other clubs. Guehi stated in a press release that he is keen to get to work at the best club in England under Guardiola. Gee, another big one here for your Manchester City. Take it away.
Yeah, this is again a fantastic signing. I think like first and foremost, when you're looking at the fee, 20 million for a, a guaranteed England starter at the World Cup, barring injuries. I'm knocking on wood. Um, One of the most just consistent center backs in the Premier League for the last few seasons, and for 20 million Great British pounds. When I was talking to another friend who's an Arsenal fan about this before he had signed, the rumors that it was going to be in the ballpark of 35 or 40, and I was saying to him, I was like, it reminds me of like when City signed Nathan Ake from Bournemouth, where we paid 45-ish million for him, and it was a little bit of an overpay, but you're getting Premier League experience and like high quality. It's going to be worth it in the end, and I think Nathan Ake has been worth every penny of that. But I was like, yeah, if we pay like 35, 40, even 50 million from our Guehi, like I think it would still end up working out in the wash over the years. Like I think it'd be a great signing. So to see it for 20 million is an absolute bargain. I think that's one of the best bargains I can think of in recent years. For the quality of player he is too. And then also to beat, I think it's one thing to beat European rivals like Real Madrid and Barcelona and Juve to player signings, but to beat domestic rivals like Arsenal and Liverpool to a major signing like this is absolutely huge for City. A definite statement of intent, I think. And I know a player like that just coming in is going to just thrive under Guardiola. He's already been so good. I just cannot imagine how much better he's going to get. And for the England national team, this is probably going to be huge for them. Maybe it's not going to be he's not going to turn into a new player in 6 months under Guardiola, but definitely going forward, having him working under Pep. You saw like the levels that John Stones reached. I think Marc Guehi is capable of hitting that level, and I'm super excited to see him playing for City.
Yeah, to your point about the 20 million, I mean, what a steal. I would have never thought that. And I forget what he had. I mean, we did get the here we go from Fabrizio Romano in the summer about him going to Liverpool. And I forget what the fee was until the deal was pulled back. But it was certainly more than 20 million. I want to say it was around that 35 million marker. So the fact that he landed at City for that fee, he's going to do great there. He's going to be, like you said, a nailed on England starter. He's got so many good things ahead of him, and he's going to do wonders for your club, no doubt. And Gitano, we did not cover each and every move that has occurred so far during the transfer window in January here. Are there any that we missed recently that have caught your eye?
It's been a pretty quiet January window so far across the continent. Honestly, across the world, it hasn't been too much. Walker Zimmerman confirmed signing for TFC, but that is a deal that we've known about since the end of the MLS season a little while ago. But he's kind of finally just paperwork got confirmed. And then really the only other one I can think of is Claudio Echeverri had his loan at Bayer Leverkusen terminated, came back to City, and then was sent on loan to Girona for the rest of the season. So yeah, it's been a pretty quiet window.
Yeah, quiet indeed. And I don't have anything that's sort of earth shattering or groundbreaking. Just from my end, Ethan Manieri going on loan to Marseille from Arsenal. I think it's good. 18 years old. Go get some playing time, experience. De Zerbi's the coach out there, which is good. I think he's a solid coach, so some good learning. I think he'll come back to Arsenal better for it. And in each of our shows on full time over the next month, we'll be right here updating each of you with all of the major moves made in the transfer window. Moving along, we will now have a look at Europe's Big Five, and we will kickstart the conversation with the English Premier League. As of now, Arsenal is first with 50 points. Manchester City and Aston Villa are joint second with 43 points each. Liverpool is just behind, but still hanging on to a top four spot with 36 points of their own. The likes of Manchester United, Chelsea, Brentford, Newcastle, and Sunderland all make up the chasing pack for the top four, being only 3 points out of a Champions League spot. Gee, it seems this season, even more than some of the previous seasons, that we have incredible competition across the league. I mean, we're seeing so many draws, more than we normally are accustomed to seeing. So I think that's pretty indicative there. But if you could, G, speak to the Premier League at this moment in time, my friend.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, I don't know what table you're looking at, but my table is like the last 5 games in form. There isn't a single Premier League team right now that is running a winning streak of more than one game. That's just kind of
Yep.
the parity that you're seeing across the board in the league. It's been incredible to watch so far. Yeah, it's weird. Like again, like not last season before. It was like there was almost like 12, like the top 12 were fighting for those European spots. We're almost at that point still. I would say it's like wild to think that teams like Sunderland and Everton, who are firmly mid-table in ninth and 10th, are still technically competing really hard for European places right now, only out of them by a couple points. Yeah, it's just been a phenomenal season so far.
Well, and the teams that I'd mentioned there, United, Chelsea, Brentford, Newcastle, Sunderland, those are just the ones that are aiming for Champions League. if you take a look even further down, the likes of Everton, Fulham, and others, they're getting in contention for those European places. So the competition this year is really, really good. I know that there's been some complaints about the draws and that the quality's gone down, this, that, and the other. But I would offer a counter argument that for years, everybody's been saying that they want to see greater competition across the 20 teams, and maybe with the exception of some of the teams at the bottom, but even them too, like Burnley's pulling a result from Liverpool, and Wolves is coming up with a result here and there. So I think across the 20 teams, it is offering better variety, better competition. So I think that the league is competitive as it's ever been, and it's really cool to see. The relegation zone at this moment in time is Wolves, Burnley, and West Ham. G, for you, which teams on the outside of the relegation zone are at risk of being pulled in, if any?
Um, when I'm looking kind of at like 14 through 17 in the table, just in terms of the teams I'm going to talk about. I do think so. Nottingham Forest for 17th. I think they've got way too much quality in their squad to be this low in the table. I think they'll at some point something will click, and they'll. It might not be like they're not going to push for European football or do anything crazy, but I think they'll comfortably kind of avoid relegation. Leeds, I fear they might slip into that battle a little bit. Just a lack of quality, like in depth through the squad. I don't hate their starting 11; it's not terrible, but I just think just takes one injury for them, and they could be fighting relegation. Bournemouth, I'm a little debating with them. Just obviously the loss of Semenyo is going to be huge for them, but if they take that money and reinvest it this window into something for themselves, that could definitely kind of salvage their season. And Spurs in 14th, I totally think are capable of just kind of hitting a slippery slope and sliding into the relegation zone. They're just a train wreck of a football club, and it really wouldn't shock me if by the end, like in those last couple of game weeks, that they are like maybe not getting relegated, but like barely scraping by.
I gotta say, with Spurs, I know we're not going to talk about it until our next show, but the fact that they're fourth place in the league table in the Champions League is just absolutely mind-boggling for the season that they're having in the Premier League. It's a complete and total contrast. It's a mess, but I think it's going to take something like really, really drastic for somebody else to get pulled into the relegation zone. I think Leeds are playing some good stuff. I think Nottingham Forest is probably going to figure something out, and it's going to click, like you said. And beyond that, I just don't see a team like Bournemouth dropping down into there. Too good of a manager, even with the departure of Semenyo, still a really solid squad. So I hate to say that I think that it just might be those three teams that are going to go down, but we will see. It's football. Anything could happen, and we've seen stranger things happen in the Premier League. Serie A in Italy remains competitive as always. It is Inter in first with 49 points. Milan is second with 46 points. Napoli is third with 43 points. And Roma is fourth with 42 points. Gee, it is still so close in Italy, but hilariously, this is the widest margin that we've seen in the top four all season. Your thoughts here, sir?
Yeah, I can't say it enough. I'm loving the battle in this area right now. It's just all of the heavy hitters just throwing everything they have at each other. And if you look at the next couple of fixtures, like you have Milan Roma and then Juve Napoli, it's just banger after banger. This has been easily. I've been watching a little more Serie A. I'm trying to make an effort to watch as much as I can now because it's just been phenomenal, and it has been so much fun. As a neutral, it's even better because I'm not like really invested. I'd love to see like KDB win a Scudetto or something like that. But like, if it doesn't happen, like I'm just happy to just be watching this. It has been phenomenal, and I love that Como are sticking around in sixth place right now. I was joking that's all the heavy hitters, but like having all of them and then Como still fighting with them has just been phenomenal to watch.
And we just talked about the relegation battle in the Premier League, and a player like Nicholas Fulkrug not at West Ham anymore, and they're in a relegation fight. That Milan game, I watched that one, the 1-0, like Nicholas Fulkrug, man, had AC Milan doing bits. It's crazy. So yeah, I don't know
Yeah,
what's gonna happen. And you take a look at the Champions League fixture yesterday with Arsenal and Inter. Inter didn't look like a first place team in Serie A, even though they played all right. But you wouldn't think to yourself, "Oh, that's the top team in Italy right now." So again, anything could happen in Serie A, and the parity is just fantastic. And as time goes along, it's just getting all the more interesting. Absolutely love it. La Liga, in its most immediate positions, is comprised of Barcelona in first and Real Madrid in second. Villarreal and Atletico Madrid round out the top four. Gee, we saw a big managerial change at Real Madrid with Xabi Alonso departing from the club last week. What does this do for the title race in Spain, sir?
I think it gives Barcelona a huge boost. Mostly just in the fact that they're just going to be a stable project, with the same manager, same tactics, same maybe outlook on transfers for the rest of the window. Whereas at Madrid now, you're scrambling to get in an interim manager. You're looking to get yourself a full time manager. You might panic and make a couple signings in the window that maybe aren't going to fit the manager's plan that you're bringing in. Still working on Xabi Alonso's plan. I think that this just kind of throws a huge, huge wrench in Real Madrid, and I definitely think gives Barcelona a big boost towards the title.
Yeah, I'm going to go as far as saying that they've basically handed Barcelona the title, but a lot of discontent around the club with some of the things that we've talked about off air and what have you. But I don't think Xabi Alonso is going to be out of work for too long. I think that he's going to be just all right, and if not even better. So, yeah, we'll see what happens there. But yeah, I'm not too worried about Alonso. I'm more concerned at this moment in time about Real Madrid. Out in the Bundesliga, Bayern continued their incredible unbeaten form, achieving a remarkable 50 points after 18 games at this moment in the season. They have an 11-point gap over second place Dortmund. It is Hoffenheim and Stuttgart who round out the top four. With every passing game slash week slash month, all of it, it seems like we just continue to talk even more and more, Gitano, how glowingly awesome this Bayern Munich team is. What do you think the message is in that dressing room from Vincent Company as time moves along in the season to keep this amazing form going?
I don't think the message has changed from day one from Vincent Company. I think it's been the same message throughout. Obviously, you see the consistency in their domestic form. It's clearly working. I think at this point, if it's not broken, don't fix it.
Exactly that. I couldn't agree with you more, and it's just about keeping on and just going out and doing what you've been doing. And like, yeah, when things are going good, there isn't much to change. So, kudos to them. And again, they're on pace for a record-breaking season. And in France's Ligue 1, it's a battle at the top, only separated by 1 point. Lens is currently sitting in first with 43 points, while PSG are trailing them in second with 42 points. Marseille remains third with 35 points. Gitano, can we officially say that Ligue 1 is now a two-horse race, or would that be a little bit premature?
It's hard to say because I think Marseille have a good squad. Obviously, it's still a bit of time for them to do some work in January here. Um, but I think for them to kind of hit the level that they would need to be challenging PSG or Lens for the title right now, I don't think that's a project that can be done in what 10 days before the window closes. So I think, no matter what they do in the window, I think they're still just going to kind of fall short here. So yeah, I would be pretty confident saying it's a two-horse race in Liga, which honestly is better than anything we've seen the last few years. So I'm happy with a two-horse race in January rather than PSG's running away with the title.
Yeah, no, 100%. Two-horse race is better than no-horse race, so definitely will take that. And yeah, we'll see if Marseille can get back into the picture here a little bit. But if it's a two-horse race, we're going to be okay with it. I think everything and everyone is going to be okay with it. This is Daniel Scarpino and Gitano Gallo, and you're listening to the Full Time Podcast on 91 Network. A reminder that Full Time is sponsored by Little Caesars Pizza and Sioux Sports. Check out the Pizza Portal app for a quicker, easier way to get your next hot and ready pizza from Little Caesars. And be sure to check out Sioux Sports at siouxsports.com and Sioux Sports TV on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Full Time. As we bring today's show to a close, we want to extend our thanks to all of you for tuning in. G, well done tonight, sir.
Yeah, well done to you as well. Thanks for sticking through some technical difficulties here. Hopefully, if we do a great job on this, the viewers and listeners won't even notice. But appreciate your patience tonight, Scarps.
Well, you do all that work for us behind the scenes, and I couldn't thank you enough, G. Means a lot, bro, and I appreciate it. A reminder to our listeners that the next episode of Full Time will be recorded the week of February 2nd, 2026. That will be episode number 100 of the Full Time Podcast featuring myself and Gitano. So be sure to tune in for a special milestone episode in 2 weeks' time that will be recorded not just the week of February 2nd, it will be recorded on February 2nd and released the following day. So again, please do tune into that show because that is a massive milestone for Gitano, myself, and the podcast. In that show, we will take a look at the January transfer window for one final time, and we will also discuss the Champions League. As always, we'll keep everyone in the loop with all of the happenings in the world of football. For weekly content, make sure to hit like, follow, share, and subscribe to all platforms of 91 Network on YouTube, Spotify, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Podbean, and Spaces at suetoday.com. For Gitano Gallo, my name is Daniel Scarpino, and thank you for tuning in to Full Time. We look forward to seeing you at kickoff next time back here on the Full Time Podcast and 91 Network. Best always.